And thanks for staying with us here on the Joy News channel. We're paying, that close attention to the international development, especially with regard to Israel's war on Gaza. And this afternoon, we will be speaking to the Palestinian ambassador to Ghana as we explore the solutions to this humanitarian crisis in the Middle East. But first, here's my colleague Isaac Ofieje, who's joining us in studio with the latest research on the death toll and the humanitarian crisis accompanying this conflict in the Middle East. Kofi, is a good time to be talking to you, looking at the numbers that we're looking at, the latest coming through from Gaza, and the figures appear to be going up. What's the latest in terms of the numbers?
Well, Blessed, if you just mention the numbers, you have to know that these are human beings. In fact, people with lives that we are talking about, people with family. And as we speak, we can talk about 700 Palestinians who have been killed by the current Israeli airstrike at the Gaza Strip. And that's the latest, update that we can have on this war. But we know why this has started. It's all because of the 7th, October 2023, strike that went on, and then the people that were held hostage. But currently, the UN has a message telling Israel that, in fact, they use the word, they are on their knees, to actually allow them to go and give humanitarian aid to those on the Gaza stretch. This is not the first time that Israel has actually decided to probably withdraw from Gaza or something like that. 2005, we saw the same thing happen. But they've explained, Israel has actually explained that this war or this attack is going to be in three folds. We are seeing probably the first one. The first one that we are seeing is their mandate, or their target is to attack key infrastructure of Hamas. That will be the first stage. The second stage will be to attack the lower intensity areas where they said they want to eliminate, the terrorists, their hideouts, and all of those things. And the last one will be to withdraw from Gaza for life. So Israel is saying that that will be their last stage. And after that, they're going to withdraw from Gaza for life.
The latest statements from the UN Secretary General is stoking tension. Israel saying that they do not accept his position on the matter, stating that the conflict did not happen out of a vacuum. Why is that becoming a major debate on the international?
Well, I think Israel is now, tagging that statement from Antonio Guterres that it is to say that he is supporting what they say is terrorism or terrorist attack, and that they are not calling for his resignation. They say they don't want anything to do with Antonio Guterres. They want him to resign because his comments, Israel feels, it looks as if he is actually, supporting the act that went on 7th October that had about 1,400 people killed in Israel.
And now we know that the Republic of Ghana also is having a say on what's happening in the Middle East, simply because, one, we're serving on the non-permanent seat of the United Nations. What has been our position, our country position, on where we stand, given this whole tension?
Well, I'm sure you all know that there was a chance to vote, and then we decided to stay neutral. But if you listen to the president, you know where our position is. I don't need to say it. But what is important here is that we are talking about humanitarian, human lives being lost. And so it's up to the two parties to come to a negotiation table, and we see how this war will be resolved. Because whether you take a stand on Israel or, Palestine or Hamas side, what is important is that innocent people are actually losing their lives. And as we speak, hospitals in Gaza are not able to work because they can't have access to electricity. And these are people who probably did not do the attack on October 7th, but innocent people are actually being affected. The 700 people who just got killed 24 hours ago, I'm not sure they were part of the attack that went on October 7th.
Well, all we're looking for is solutions. And Isaac, thank you for joining us with the latest on this. Is the reason for which I want to speak now to Abdel Fattah al-Satari, who's the Palestinian ambassador to Ghana, joining us in studio now to have a conversation on this whole issue. As we know, it's unfolding, and it's a great pleasure to be talking to you, sir, joining us in studio as we also monitor the interventions from the United Nations to try and bring lasting peace to the Middle East. First of all, your comments on the controversy surrounding the comments that the UN Secretary General made. He says that this conflict did not happen in a vacuum. Some say that's to the effect of defending terrorism. Do you see it the same way too?
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. I'd like to thank all the Ghanaian people who stand by our side. I'd like to thank the government of Ghana about all this support to the Palestinian people. I received since the last 20 days a lot of call from Ghanaian leaders and some members of the parliaments and thousands from the Ghanaian people to show their sympathy with the Palestinian people. I want to say something in the beginning. This conflict did not start on the 7th of October. Some people like to say that Hamas attacked Israel on that day, because of that Israel attacked Palestine. The conflict did not start on the 7th of October. The conflict started when Israel started to occupy my people and my country and our lands. From 1967 to now, 100,000 from my people killed by the Israelis. And this is not the first war, as your friend said, against Gaza. You know, in 2014, Israel killed more than 2,650 from my people. And 5 of them was children. I cannot understand. Those children attacked Israel with the rockets. The children entered the border and attacked the Israeli soldiers and the settlers inside Israel. In that war, 2012, the Israelis killed more than 700 from my people. And Israel attacked Gaza, not Gaza attacked Israel. In the war 2012, the Israelis killed more than 700 from my people. In the war 2014, they killed more than 2,000 people. And they destroyed more than 100,000 houses to the people. So this conflict did not start in the 7th of October. And we should talk only if we want to understand what's happening in Palestine. The conflict, not between Hamas and between Israel. Maybe some people like to say it like this, but the conflict between all the Palestinian people, all the Palestinian people in the West Bank, in Gaza, the people who's lived, Israel transferred them from their housing from 1948 and 1967, and they cannot back to their housing. Israel think in that time that my people, the older will forget Palestine as their state, and the older, will die, and the young boys will forget their country. This did not happen at all, and will not happen, because the father teaches their children everything, the history about Palestine, and the geography about Palestine, and everything about this conflict. And believe me, now our children know information about this conflict more than us. About the General Secretary, he talk because he know exactly what's happening in Palestine. He know exactly what's happening in Palestine. And he tried to say the truth yesterday. And he said the Palestinian people did not do, in the 7th of October, did not do something against the Israelis. This did not come like this.
Yeah, but when you say that, that's where, of course, you open up the conversation as to where the source of this latest war is coming from. The Israeli officials, the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, pointing out clearly that this is a war on Hamas, a terrorist organization as they are describing it.
Okay.
Why are you failing to admit the fact that indeed there was an attack on the 7th of October?
Do you think 3,250 children killed in Gaza when Israel bombing their housing, children and women, these children Hamas? Do you think when they bombing the house and they killed 30 people inside the house, from the father to the children, all of them families, those people Hamas? How many members of Hamas they killed to now? How many?
But are you not picking and choosing?
20,
the call is that you need to condemn the activities of these extremists.
When the Israelis condemn all the war crime, they did it against the Palestinian people. All the Palestinian people will condemn what they are doing, what anyone doing against them. So, listen to me. Since the last only this year, how many times the settlers inside Hawara, Nablus, Tulkarem, Jenin, and they leaving the settlement, and the Israeli soldiers behind them, and they go to our villages, and they start to burn anything in their way, and pit my people, and destroy anything, and burning the cars of my people. And when the Palestinian people start to attack the settlers with the stone, the Israeli soldiers come and arrested them. This is apartheid.
That's how you're describing
this? This is apartheid. This is apartheid. When you allow to your people to enter the Palestinian places and kill them, How many settlers they arrest after they killing the Palestinian people? How many? They don't arrest anyone.
Right.
Anyone.
We're looking for solutions now, and I guess it was part of the attempts for which we saw the UN Secretary General comment on this matter last night. The point now about the way forward. A lot of the members of the international community asking all parties to go back to the two-state solution. We've also seen a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration pointing out that, first of all, Israel remains that right to defend its territorial integrity. You agree on that point, first of all?
Okay. My brother. The problem, not now, not who's condemned this one or condemned this one. Mm-hmm. Now, there is very big crime war against my people in Gaza and in the West Bank. You know, in the West Bank, there is no Hamas, this Fatah. Fatah, this political party, following to our president. Mm-hmm. From 7th of October to now, they killed 100 from my people. They're stealing the money of our authority, the water, the lights, everything. They're stealing the lands every day from the people and building of illegal settlement. In the West Bank, the Israelis don't want anyone from the Palestinians to be there.
Okay, the second point in that statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration says that all the warring factions, both from the Palestinian side and the Israeli side, need to come to the negotiation table. Our opinion
That's right.
is being communicated as a country through that statement. What's your response to that? Do you agree to open up talks between two parties so there's a solution to this?
We did it before, you know. Our former president, Yasser Arafat, signed with them agreement in Oslo in 1993, right?
Yeah.
And according to this agreement, the Israelis should leave all the lands, the Palestinian lands, which occupied in 1967, according to the international law. If we have one international law, this is the international law. The land which occupied in 1967, it is Palestinian lands, including East Jerusalem, the capital city of the Palestinian people and the heart of the Palestinian people. What's happened in Israel and what's happened in Palestine? You know what's happened? All my people go to the street and organizing very big demonstration support to this agreement, because we start to feeling we have hope. Maybe after 5 years, we will not see the occupier on our lands. They will leave our lands and we can living together in peace. In the other side, the Israelis start to organize very big demonstration against the agreement. And you know what's happened after that? One from the Israelis people, his name is Igal Amir, he shot the Prime Minister of Israel and he killed him. After he killed him, he killed the peace process between the Palestinians and the Israelis. And to now we are suffering. The Israelis and the Palestinian people, they are suffering. You know what's happened if according to this agreement, the Israelis leave our land and this your border, here my border, your people here, my people here. We will living together more than 500 years. We will living together. So my people went to the street, supported this agreement. The Israelis went to the street against this agreement. And they killed their prime minister and killed the peace process. Okay. That's what's happened.
The reason for
I support.
Mm-hmm. You support the two-state solution. You support
that. My brother, mm-hmm. We are human.
Right.
We are human. You understand? Mm. And we have one blood and one color to our blood. I don't like to see anyone killed from this side or this side. Mm. But if you want to check for solution to all the people, the Palestinian people, the Israelis, the Arabs people, the Middle East people, we should start to check for solution. You find your dignity, mm-hmm. and the other side find his dignity.
I see.
You understand?
Okay. I need to point out that our former Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister Emmanuel Bombande is also joining the conversation. Bring him in soon. But the reason for which we're having the conversation now is because of the international repercussion of what's happening between Israel and Palestine. There's a religious undertone to this. I recall just days ago, last week in fact, I was speaking to the coalition of Muslim groups in Ghana. Mm-hmm. The intent is to stage protest in support of Palestine. You agree that the tension in your country, in your region, is breeding religious intolerance as the argument?
Not religion conflict. You know, so there is some Jewish support Palestine, don't support Israel. They are Jewish. In America and Jerusalem, some of them in Jerusalem, you know. This conflict, not religion conflict, this political conflict. You know, in Palestine, we are Muslims and the Christians. We are living together. Bethlehem, Palestinian city, right? Palestinian city. All the people who's living in Bethlehem, they are Palestinian. There is no one Israeli family. 90% from the people in Bethlehem, they are Palestinian. 10% Muslim. They are living together. So look why they attacked the two churches in Gaza, the Israelis, and they killed some people there. Why they bombing the hospital? You know the hospital? It is a Christian hospital, Mamadani hospital. This hospital is a Christian hospital, not Muslims hospital. And they built it before 140 years, before the establishment of Israel. You know what's happened with one of the Palestinian women? Her children were sick. She take him to the hospital. And the doctor asked her to go from outside to buy small medicine for him. When she go out, the Israeli bombing the hospital. When she back, she said, I did not find the children. I did not find the doctor. I did not find the hospital.
Of course, these attacks have been condemned. We've been seeing U.S. President Joe Biden condemning the attacks on the hospital. But the point about the religious infiltration into this, you're not tackling conflict. That. You're not tackling that the possibility of the ripple effects of what we're likely to see, radicalization of the youth groups, people who sympathize with Palestine on religious grounds. That's a threat to national security, I was told, by the coalition of Muslim groups in Ghana.
No. The conflict, not religion conflict. Believe me.
Are you not underestimating the effects of this?
I'm honest with you. The conflict, not religion conflict. It is a political conflict, Because of that, the Muslims and the Christians in Palestine, they are together, they are living together. And when they attack, listen to me. Now, when they ask my people, I want all the people to know. Right. When they ask the people on the phone, leave your house, where the people will go? The mosques, the church, the hospital, and the schools. The Israelis attacked Muslims and the Christians in the mosque, in the church, in the schools, and in the four places. They attacked them and they bombing them. This conflict, not religion conflict, not between Muslims and the Jewish. No, our religion, I am Muslim. Don't ask me to hate anyone because of his religion. I believe with the Jesus. In my Quran, I believe with the Jesus. And the Christian people, my brothers. When I arrived to start my work in the embassy, I told my staff, please, if you are Muslim, in the mosque. If you are a Christian, in the church. Outside, we are brothers. Don't talk about the Christianity or the Islam in the embassy. And when I meet all my brothers and sisters, the Ghanaian people, I talk the same. We are brothers. The Muslims and the Christians in all the world should be brothers. Your religion asks you to be my brother, and my religion asks me to be your brother. Some people has the worst culture in the world. When he talk about his brother, the Muslim or the Christian, bad or in bad words, So the relation in Palestine, between the Muslims and the Christians, we are one family. The conflict between the Palestinians people, Muslims and the Christians, against the occupier of my land. I do not hate the Israeli because he's Israeli. I cannot hate them or attack them or do anything against it. But if anyone come to occupy your country, what you will do? You.
That's an interesting.
You will fight about. I know. You will fight about yourself.
Yeah, you have to defend your integrity, territorial integrity. Just hold on for me. Let me bring in our former Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, Emmanuel Bombande, who's also a peace resolution expert. And he's joining us via Zoom now. Thank you, sir, for spending some time with us. Good to have you with us. You've heard from the Palestinian ambassador to Ghana, and he's advanced a number of points, also acceding to the call by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration that they are indeed committed to negotiations, coming to the table and having a peace talk. But do you see that happening anytime soon?
First of all, let me express my warm greetings to you and extend it to His Excellency, the Palestinian ambassador to Ghana, and to respond to your question by simply making a few observations. If you look at your prelude, it's very important for us to understand that when we are talking about the conflict between the Palestinians and the Israelis, what we in Ghana understand is not about which side you are taking sides with or supporting, but what is absolutely clear is whether we are in support of justice and international humanitarian law and the Charter of the United Nations, out of which all the resolutions related to the Palestinians and the Israelis have been passed. If you look at it this way, you are able to avoid the polemics, such as whether there is religion in it, such as who preceded whom on that land, and all the history. It's completely then irrelevant. And that is why, let me make this. First of all, you were making reference to the statement from our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Let me be emphatic. Our lowest point as a non-member state of the Security Council, our lowest point during the 2 years, which will end December 2023, was when we abstained in the Security Council from voting for a humanitarian pause in the Security Council last week that will now facilitate the delivery of humanitarian support to the Palestinians in Gaza. I thought that was the lowest point because we were abstaining, basically interpreting that to mean we did not even appreciate the magnitude of the humanitarian crisis that has resulted from the sustained bombings of Gaza, including ordering the people of Gaza to move to the south, where the Israeli army promised them safe haven, but whilst the people were moving to that safe haven, they kept on bombing. And that is why I personally, as a former Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, that day I bowed my head in shame. Why? Because all of us who serve Ghana in the capacities of privilege must always look at the coat of arms of Ghana: freedom and justice. There cannot be a solution going forward, as you are asking, when we do not bring into the Palestinian and Israeli question justice and fairness for all, in order that all of them will have freedom. And it is for this reason that the Secretary General of the United Nations, who speaks for the voiceless, spoke with the courage and the conviction that whereas we disagree with any acts that kills anybody, we must put that in the perspective of a solution that is long-term and that is grounded in justice and fairness for all, both the Palestinians and the Israelis. So the security of Israel can never be linked with the security of the Palestinians.
And when you say this, are you not subduing the conversation around the latest attack from Hamas? Because that's a point where the Israeli authorities have been standing on to declare this latest war.
My good friend, I appreciate your question, but it is exactly the reason why Secretary General Antonio Guterres made his remarks, for which, for obvious reasons, he's been attacked. What did the Secretary General say? The Secretary General is saying that the 7th October attack, whereas it is condemnable, we must understand it in context. That when for 56 years, the Palestinians have been besieged, they are under oppression, repression, and suffocation. You create a condition that now leads to the emergence of a militant group called Hamas. So if we don't want that militant group to continue the activities that we condemn, we must go back and address the Israeli-Palestinian conflict from its roots. And that root has been addressed. The Palestinian ambassador talked about the peace agreement between Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat, in which they agreed to commit to the two-state solution moving forward. And that is why Jerusalem would continue to become our spiritual symbol of the three Abrahamic religions: Muslims, Christians, and Jews. Now, who was more extremist? The people who killed Prime Minister Rabin were even more extremist than than Hamas. Let me repeat. Those who killed Prime Minister Rabin of Israel were more extremist than Hamas, because not only did they kill Rabin, but they killed the peace process.
Yeah.
Why did they kill the peace process? Because some right-wing politicians in Israel want to continue to have their way. And what is that way? The continual suffocation, oppression, and subjugation of the Palestinians. But what they forget, is that whilst you do that, peace becomes distant, impossible to achieve. So let's go back to the Security Council resolution that has clearly articulated, affirmed a two-state solution, so that side by side, the Israelis and the Palestinians can have peaceful coexistence. But who is the one refusing to respect the implementation of the Security Council resolution? I don't need to answer that.
And of course, it's the reason for which I want us to move into that leg of the conversation, the kind of solidarity message we're seeing from some leaders on the African continent. And I'll come back to you, Mr. Emmanuel Bande, on your thoughts on why Africa is getting involved and the posture we're getting from some African leaders. I recall the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa announcing his solidarity for Palestine and talking about how there's occupation in your land. But our president has commented on that too. He believes that there's support now for Ukraine and for Israel. He spoke in the United States of America. When you hear such statements, what's your response to, the Ghanaian authorities, those who make such statements about declaring support all out for the Republic of Israel?
Now, some countries, first of all, I'd like to thank the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. Thank you so much, my brother. Why some people, no, I do not ask why. Some people stand by the side of Ukraine because Russia wants to occupy or take pieces from the land of Ukraine, and they're against the occupation. They call it occupation, and they're against the occupation. And they send to Ukraine the weapons, the money, everything, okay? What's about the Palestinian people? We are under the Israeli occupation 75 years now. And my people don't want anything from the world. Only we are looking for freedom. I don't like anyone to control my life. I don't like anyone to control the smile on my children when he woke up from his sleeping. We don't like anyone to control our agriculture, our water, our lights, our life, and everything. One day, I saw it on the YouTube. One from the Israeli soldiers. She came from America. Her father and her mother teach her the human rights. But she come to work with the Israeli soldiers. One day she asked the soldiers to go and do checkpoints, but not in Gaza and Hamas, okay, in the West Bank. They asked the soldiers to do checkpoints between Palestinians' two villages in the evening. And they put the checkpoints to the morning. In the morning, she asked her boss, why you would put these checkpoints between the Palestinian villages at this time? You know what he said to her? I hear this lady, this soldier, Israeli soldiers too. He told her, we want to do their life very difficult, to leave their housing and leave their lands. After that, she left Israel and she back to America. My brother, in the West Bank, there is more than 400 checkpoints between our villages and our cities. When the Israelis is stealing our lands, they're stealing the lands between our villages and our cities. How we can establish our state if they are continuing like this? The Security Council asked them to stop their building of the settlement, and they continue. You know what they're doing? I want to say something. They signed the agreement with us when they're right hands, and they continue stealing our lands and killing my people with the left.
Okay, so what sort of solidarity are you looking for from world leaders, including our leaders here in Africa as well? What's your direct message to African leaders who are beginning to take sides on this matter?
Ghana stand all the time by the side of justice and the human rights and the international law. And Ghana, the last 7 years, they vote with us on the UN. The last 7 years. And they vote with Palestinian people in the Human Rights Council. Because I think I'd like to thank the President of the Republic of Ghana. He knows the international law very well, and he stands all the time with the justice. I'm sure 100%. You know, what we need from the Ghanaians people or from the African people, our message to all of them. All of us open the TV and see the news and see how our children killed on the streets and inside the housing and inside the hospitals and inside the schools. And I cannot understand when you see more than 20 children killed in one building only, or 30, how we will feel, all of us, not only the African people. But we need more support. We need to do everything to stop this war against the Palestinian people, and to talk with the Americans and the Europeans all the time about the self-determination to the Palestinian people. And we want to stop this occupation, and we want the Israelis to leave our lands, which occupied in 1967. In this, the only solution for this conflict, the only solution, there is no peace in the Middle East at all, if without the establishment of an independent Palestinian state on the land which occupied in 1967, including East Jerusalem, the capital city of the Palestinian people, according to the international law.
Okay, let's round off on the point about the reforms necessary to improve and empower the United Nations Security Council, which is a key player in bringing about resolutions at this time round. And that call has been made by many African countries, the need for reforms to the UN Security Council. The belief is if that reform had was brought to bear, by now the Palestinian people, if indeed your case is as genuine as it should be, would have had solution to your problems by now.
The General Secretary and the UN try all the time to help us. If I understand your question, they try to help us, and all the time they condemn what Israel since the last 75 years. When they killing children, women, journalists. When they kill Shirin Abu Akleh, she's journalist like you know, and they kill her life. Maybe if this happened in any country in the world, they will arrest the soldiers who's killed here. Israel said not a soldier, and then they said he's one from our soldiers, and they don't do anything for him, because when he killed her, he wanted to kill the truth. Shirin Abu Akleh is a Christian journalist. She's not Muslim, Christian. She's not Muslim journalist, and she living in Jerusalem, and she has the American passport. She's Palestinian, and they killed her. So I think the UN can do more to the Palestinian people, and we need more from all the countries in this world. We want only my people to living in peace on their lands. We don't want to fight with anyone. But the Palestinian people defense about themselves according to international law. If anyone occupied any country, the people have the right to defense about themselves.
The attempts to get humanitarian assistance through to Gaza now has been a challenge for the Council. The last attempt by Russia to table a resolution had unsuccessfully failed, as we know. The Republic of Ghana took a side on that. We abstained. We've just heard from Mr. Bombande talk about the point that we should have demonstrated our level of support for the Palestinian people through that draft resolution. Do you feel that the Republic of Ghana failed at least to show brotherly love to the people of Palestine by abstaining at that point?
Yes, I have very big support from the Ghanaian people. Very big. I told you, a lot of leaders in Ghana, I will not mention to the names, but a lot of leaders, parliaments, they call me to show their support and their solidarity to the Palestinian people. And the newspaper, I organized a meeting with the media for 2 days in the embassy, and plenty of media come in, and they start to show what I talk on this meeting. And I hear that some people ask permission from the policeman to organize some demonstration support to the Palestinian people, and they're organizing a lot of programs, start to organize a lot of programs in Ghana here. And I'd like to thank all the Ghanaian people, Muslims and the Christians, about this support. Anyone stand by the side of the Palestinian people, he stand by the side with justice and the human rights. Open the TV and see what they are doing with
the abstention. Was that vote crucial from the Republic of Ghana in demonstrating love towards your country?
The people love my country and love my people and love the human rights. Ghana, a peaceful country. The people has the culture of peace. I visit some of the countries. They ask me after 8 evening, don't leave the hotel. You know why? When I asked them why, they told me, if you go outside, maybe someone will shoot you to take only your phone. Here, when I visit Kusuniani, Brikom, Wa, Takuradi, Tamale, I leave my place at 2 morning. I'm not afraid of anything. Ghana is a very peaceful country, and the people support all the time the human rights in all the world, not only to the Palestinian people, to the Israelis too. For me, I like to see the two sides living together, the Israelis and the Palestinians.
All right. Mr. Mohammadi, you're still with us. Your final words on this as we move forward. Of course, the point about the abstention you were talking about, and the president also making his stance known on this. Where do we go from here, and how can Ghana perhaps make another statement if we have to redress our image of neutrality as our foreign policy has always been?
So very quickly, first of all, the foreign ministry must come again. You cannot talk about the right of Israel to defend itself and be silent on the human rights of the Palestinians who are suffocating, besieged, and occupied, and expect that your statement would have value. Because that statement is spineless and it does not represent the overall people of Ghana. Why do I say that? Because Ghana is the black star that was the trailblazer against the oppression of Africans. Africans, more than anybody else, understands what it means to fight for freedom. 400 years of slavery, more than 200 years of colonization that continues with neo-colonization, and the fight for liberation and independence. So we are in solidarity with anybody in this world who is under oppression. But that solidarity is meaningful when we support justice and fairness for all. Secondly, we do not stand with Israel, and for that matter, we are against Palestine. We stand with the Palestinians in solidarity for their freedom, for their justice. And the only way we can now meaningfully support Israel is in our preventive diplomacy to convey to Israel that their security is linked and interconnected with the security and the respect of the human rights of the Palestinians. That's the second point I wanted to make. And the third point, which basically you asked me to wrap up there. Number one, there are 2 different resolutions currently before the Security Council. 2 of them are calling for a ceasefire. We are watching whether we are going to support the ceasefire or not. Ghana cannot be part of the people in this world who do not value the lives of the Palestinians. Because when you say you are voting against a ceasefire, you are saying you support the continuous bombardment and killing of the Palestinians, including children. So we are going to watch that. And whilst we watch that, we must see our role as a non-permanent member of the Security Council, as one of the first African countries to join the Security Council, as the only country in sub-Saharan Africa that has produced a Secretary General of the UN. We, by virtue of our history, must leverage how Ghana must continue to punch above our weight and to insist that we believe in justice and we believe in fairness. And whilst we do this, let us not fall into the rhetoric of some of the extremist people who are very comfortable to say that this is not the moment for ceasefire, which means, in other words, continue to kill the Palestinians. Ghana must speak against that. Ghana must make its voice heard. And when we make our voice heard, we have respect and standing in the global community. We must support the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres. He will not resign. He will continue to speak for the voiceless.
And I'm grateful. And thank you for joining us today. It's refreshing to see you back again on our channel. Mr. Ambassador, we are leaving. What message would you like to leave with the people of Ghana as we wrap up on this conversation?
Only I'd like to thank the Ghanaian people about their support, the Palestinian people, and about their solidarity with the Palestinian people. Listen to me, Ghana was very generous with the Palestinian people. And all the time, if I thank the Ghanaians every day, this is not enough. Thank you to Ghana. Thank you to all the people of Ghana. I like your country. I like the culture of this country, and I like all the people in Ghana. Thank you so much to the President of the Republic of Ghana, to the government of Ghana, about all the big support we have in this beautiful country and the beautiful people. Thank you so much.
Abdul Fattah Satari, we'll see you again. Thanks for joining us. And we're taking a break here on The Pulse. When we get back, we'll bring you some more stories, including the floodwaters taking parts of the Volta region, and we'll be back there to check the very latest. Please stay with us. Staying with us, the Ghana National Association of Teachers says it is not pleased with government's slow pace of response to challenges confronting schools in flood-affected areas following the spillage of the Ekosombo and Pond dams. School buildings now serve as temporary accommodation for displaced residents, compelling some school children as well to skip school on or actually take lessons under trees. Education Minister Dr. Yao Sayed Duchum, during a tour of some of the affected communities, assured government is working to address the situation. Ivy Setoji was in the community and now reports.
School children in the flood-affected communities are one of the worst hit victims of the dam spillage and its resultant flooding. They have had to stay away from school to take shelter in temporary structures far away from their abode for over a month. Until that time, when the floods recede, academic work remains in limbo. In a bid to gauge the severity of the impact of the flooding, the Education Minister, in the company of his deputies and some other officials in the education sector, interacted with the school children and teachers on their plight. He assured that government was doing everything possible to solve their challenge regarding the state of education in the district.
To engage stakeholders to really get on the spot accounts and various initiatives that are being undertaken. We've come, we've seen the teachers, we've talked to the regional minister, district chief executive, NADMO coordinator who is here. So we've gotten a very good feel of what is going on and how we can support the effort. As you see here, these are makeshift classes and students are learning. That's a good thing, that they are not losing out. In a number of places, we don't have that opportunity, and we should create that opportunity immediately. So we're looking at short-term solutions, medium-term and long-term solutions to the challenges. But as Education Minister, my primary purpose for the visit is how do I bring normalcy to the teaching and learning process, and that's why we came, and we've seen enough to go back and then look at what we can do to really bring about teaching and learning to our community, to our parents and to our students.
A number of teachers also outlined their challenges.
Now every teacher in this area need a life guidance. It's
That's all.
There's suppose JHS block is currently hosting black victims. I use the word suppose because the new block has not been commissioned and has not been handed over to us. So currently our JHS is sit under trees.
Okay.
And then the new building is hosting the black victims. So I want to appeal that the place should be commissioned and then handed over to us in due time.
My school is captured as safe haven, but the road to safe haven is not.
Some school buildings have been submerged. Teachers and students have been displaced. Teaching materials have been destroyed in the floods. There remains lots of anxiety among teachers, school children and parents concerning the future of education after the floods. Ivy Setoji's report for Joy News.
But the Ghana National Association of Teachers say it is not happy with government's slow pace in addressing the concerns. Reverend Isaac Owusu is the president for the Ghana National Association of Teachers.
What we saw yesterday was very devastating. Over 300 teachers within Volta and Uti region have been displaced by this calamity. And so, lucky for us, we got information that the Minister for Education was also in town yesterday to see things for himself. And not in our own small way, we supported the victims who are teachers. 150,000 Ghana cedis. The donation came from Nat and one of our baby, which is the teachers fund. And we believe that the donation will go a long way to help our teachers who have been displaced by this village. And for the ministry and the Ghana Education Service, what we are looking forward is for them to be very proactive, to put measures in place to restore back academic work within these affected areas. But we are not happy with the pace in which the ministry together with GES are taking to resolve the matter. But once yesterday they were there, we will give them the benefit of the doubt and hope that within the coming days, they will let Ghanaians know what they are the measures they are put in place to restore back academic work within the affected areas. And when we are in an emergency situation, we have what we call education and emergency. So education and emergency is not like the normal procedure that all of us use. This is a situation where children and their teachers, parents are in difficulties now. So we believe and trust that the ministry, in terms of this emergency, will put in place measures, be it if it is voluntary places that they will get, or reading materials that need to get to the children as well as their teachers, and also get a safe place for these students to gather, for them to receive teaching and learning. We believe it will go a long way to help whilst we wait for the long-term solution.
Meanwhile, some more philanthropic organizations continue to pour out their support for affected residents. We can now start off with the latest coming through from Ibrahim Mahama, who heads the engineers and planners, as well as the MP for Kole Klote, Zano Rollins, who was in the community also to support. Here are excerpts.
The floods that swept through parts of the Volta region over the past few weeks as a result of the spillage of the Akosombo Dam have resulted in extensive flooding, causing considerable damage to properties and displacing thousands of residents. Speaking on the initiative at a Debar of Chiefs and People of Mepe, Mr. Ibrahim Mahama expressed his concern for those who have suffered due to the floods and recounted how he started his company.
As a small company, sharing from Albania, Papa, down to Syria. Unfortunately, I started it in 1997 when I was a young man. So when this disaster hit, I just said, look, I need to pay back from where I started the company from. So if you've seen me here, especially even when my mother comes from here as well, I'm here to support you as my mother.
Receiving the items on behalf of the community, the DCE for North Dong, Divine Osborne Fenu, thanked Mr. Ibrahim Mahama and his team for the massive donation. He said the donation has put more smiles on the faces of the affected.
Any relief item that comes, we should do it together, and we are not doing politics with it. There is no NDC, there is no MPP, there is no CPP. We are doing it together as a group. We have therefore decided yesterday, the MP was in attendance at our meeting where we formed the Relief Administration Committee to see to the harmonization of all relief items that we have so that we have equitable distribution among all affected communities. And this is what I want to stress, that let us put politics aside, let us save lives first, then we come to properties. And then I believe with this, North Dong shall rise again. I thank you for coming. May God bless us all.
The MP for North Tong, Samuel Ablakwa Okujeto, on behalf of the MPs, thanked Mr. Ibrahim Mahama and his team for their support for the affected communities and assured him that there will be equity in the distribution of the items to all the affected communities.
So on behalf of the chiefs, on behalf of our Queen Mothers, on behalf of the over 14,000 victims, we say, Mr. Ibrahim Mahama and your wife, Maune Irami. And I must say that Ghanaians have been very generous and we have been very touched indeed. We want to assure Ibrahim Mahama and his wife that to the last item, they are going to the real victims. There is no diversion, there is no kululu.
Ablakwa also urged the residents to disregard the unfortunate comments made by the sanitation minister.
I know my people have been very, very upset about what the sanitation minister said. The chiefs issued a statement this afternoon demanding a retraction and an apology. I want to say that I am on full force with the chiefs. I am totally aligned with the statement that the chiefs issued. We in Northtown, we are not squatters. We were here centuries before the Akosombo Dam was constructed and before the Kon Dam was constructed. We gave up our land for those constructions to take place. We have not even been fully compensated. So you cannot say that they should move and they refuse to move. Move to where? We are on our land. We own the land. And let us state for the record, there was no evacuation and our people refused to go. Nobody came here. We challenged them to produce evidence, to tell us what day they came here to evacuate anybody. So, look, we are down and out. This is not a time to add lies, to add insults to our plight. And I want to ask the sanitation minister to do the honorable thing. She should retract. She should apologize. We do not need those ill-informed and provocative statements.
Ivy Satoji, Joy News, Mepe. Dr. Zano Rollins visited several flood-affected areas, including Sogakope, Vume, Sokwe, Dabala, and all the affected communities in the Southern District, and met with local officials, community leaders, and residents. The flooding, which has resulted from the split of the Akonsobo Dam and rising water levels in the Volta River, has caused considerable hardship to the affected communities. Speaking during the distribution of the relief items to the various communities, Dr. Zano Rollins expressed her concern and sympathy for the affected residents.
Well, currently we're in Teflek. This is where my dad. This is our family home, and so the idea is to actually support the communities in and around Teflek as far as Sogakope. We already made a donation to the district hospital, and we're going to make a few donations to one of the communities here, and then to the CHIPS compounds that are here. Because with what is going on here, the first part of the disaster has happened, which is the spillage and the flooding, but what will happen in the aftermath of this is you find that there's a lot of cholera and other diarrheal diseases, typhoid, malaria, as the water starts to recede. What we're doing here as medical doctors is to try and preempt that by, first of all, supporting the health facilities with what they need, because this is something that they did not factor into their budgets at the beginning of the year. And this has come, and of course, no state of emergency has been declared as yet in spite of the magnitude of this disaster. And so as medics, I'm here with the Medical Women's Association of Ghana, who we've been working closely together for at least 5 years now.
Dr. Zano Rollins further emphasized the need for collaborative efforts to address the aftermath of the floods?
Well, we have limited resources, as you can imagine, and I've been using this as a platform to appeal to other people to actually support, because you see, people are bringing food and water, but the medications are very, very important, and so I'd actually like to use this platform to appeal to people. When you would like to support, just reach out to the various district health directorates and see how you can support them with medication and the necessary public and public support that we can give in cash or in kind, because there is a looming disaster which, if we are not preemptive, will run a little bit out of control.
Meanwhile, apart from the Mefe community in the North Tongue district, which happens to be the worst affected, Sokwe in the South Tongue district and other communities have been flooded, with houses submerged in the water. Some of the residents have been speaking with Joy News.
In fact, what is going on in Suka Kopo per se is not an easy thing, and then you can see that water have taken over all of our houses, and then even the school. You can see the school. This is my former school, this is Gombotech, and then the water have really taken over the whole school, and this is the hospital. And as I'm talking now, they have shut down the whole hospital, and nothing is moving on. And then the school, you can see the school is closed down.
Yeah, I'm just worried about the students, because me too, I'm a graduate at JSS. I'm not coming to the school, so now I'm worried. What if I'm sent to this school? How am I going to learn? So it means I will stay in the house until this place is okay before I come to school. I don't think it's good. So I think the government have to do something that the students will go back to school. Maybe they'll get some place for them for the meantime before this place will be okay. That's what I think.
Ivy Setoji, Joy News, Tefle.
Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Gertrude Arabai Saba Tokunu has raised concerns about the judiciary's technological expertise in addressing cybercrime in the country. According to her, cybercrime cases are stretched to various aspects of daily life, necessitating judges to upgrade and develop their skills in all other fields, including this one, to ensure a fair justice delivery in line with international standards. There's more in the following report.
The 2023 Global Risks Report ranks cybercrimes, while data from the National Cybersecurity Authority also reveals a rising trend in online blackmail and cyberbullying, with women being particularly vulnerable to sextortion. Additionally, the Bank of Ghana reports an increase in cyber fraud losses, which have surged from 2 million cedis to over 4 million cedis in 2023. The Chief Justice has therefore urged the judges to expand their knowledge and skills to keep pace with the evolving landscape of cybercrime.
Let us throw our learning scope with regards to electronic evidence extremely wide as we focus on evidence required to establish cybercrimes. Let us appreciate that the issues of e-law now stretch to virtually every arena of life that humanity is engaged in. E-commerce and e-trade, e-contracts, intellectual property rights on software, hardware, licensing regimes, e-torts, e-entertainment. Virtually every part of life is now being conducted virtually. How do you calculate damages and other penalties? Are the age-old principles that undergirded the grant of discretionary remedies still relevant in activity conducted online? Can you give injunctions on the basis of established principles?
In the age of digitization, the use of technology is crucial in curbing activities of cybercrimes, especially with the nature of internet, which demands international collaboration to track and punish culprits. Director General of the National Cybersecurity Authority, Dr. Albert Entribo-Siako, indicates his outfit's preparedness to deploy experts to all the courts in the country to advise judges on cybersecurity cases.
Our country is not insulated from the threats that are normally reported. The current data from my outfit, the national set at the CNC, has identified online fraud as a major threat in the Ghanaian digital space. Also, among the leading threats reported are online blackmail, unauthorized access, cyberbullying, and publication of non-consensual intimate images, which is affecting most of our youth, both sexes. But of course, the females have become vulnerable with the issue of sextortion. The Bank of Ghana has established that the total loss value from cyber fraud increased from 2.6 million in 2021 to 4.3 million in 2022. This difference represents an increase of about 65.55%.
The training of the judges, who were drawn from all the regions in Ghana, aims to equip the judiciary in cybercrime-related cases in line with the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime and funded by the European Union. Reporting for Joy News, Samuel Mbura.
And now the Ghana Blind Union in the Ashanti region is calling on urban authorities to intensify street regulations and advocacy to assist visually impaired persons. The group cites the indifferent attitude of drivers and the public towards their navigation tool, which is the white cane, due to the lack of education and mobility regulations. They are of the view that visually impaired friendly courses are offered to drivers in addition to public advocacy to ease their daily struggles. Clinton Yeboah has the rest of the story.
Over 6,000 blind and visually impaired persons have been registered under the Ashanti Regional Branch of the Ghana Blind Union. They are assisted by a unique white metallic cane which serves as a guide and safety tool that aids their movement. At the blind side of the benefits of the cane, some members of the association recount the flaunting of signals from the cane on the roads. Abdul Basik Hamidan is the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Ghana Blind Union.
Even though the white cane helps you to move around, but people put things on the pavement, that becomes an obstacle. You cannot even move around. And because people are not educated on the use of white cane, when you are even holding, nobody even seems to help you or so. The person may see you holding, coming, instead of pulling himself or pushing himself to pave way for you to pass, the person would rather come closer, trying to knock you down. The driver need to stop so that anybody at all can assist you to cross with your white skin. So it is very, very challenging, both accessibility and the people attitude towards us.
Project Director of the Union, Ivan Koshi Headcoat, is calling on road authorities to strengthen mobility regulations pertaining to visually impaired persons. He is entreating the government to waive the cost of the white cane to improve accessibility.
One of it, the least that you can get for is about 100 cedis. And since several of them are in low-income families, they cannot afford using 100 cedis to order for a cane, which is not even sold in their region. Somebody will have to go for it in Accra, send it to a transport station, bring it down to them, all the hassle. So they are not using the white canes. Several people don't even know what a white cane is. Also in the area of advocacy, if the DVLA, it wouldn't hurt if they added just a little lesson about white canes as they train drivers and license them to be on our roads. We are asking that if all the taxes and import duties on these white canes could be waived so that the costs can come down, we'll be grateful. If government can also support, as other countries are doing, where they would supply white canes to any person who is blind and needs one to guarantee their safety as citizens, we will also find it very much appreciable.
As an intervention, Providence Insurance Company Limited has made a donation of 100 white canes to the Ghana Blind Union. This donation is in commemoration of the annual International White Cane Safety Celebrations marked every October. Chief Executive Officer of Providence Insurance Company, Michael Justice Ashon, said the gesture is to fulfill the company's corporate social responsibility.
But the genesis of all these donations that we are making of white canes is that as part of Provident Insurance's 40 years anniversary, the board took a decision
to make some donations by way of corporate social responsibility to certain institutions. The gentleman who interviewed me was called Mr. Ivan Heathcote. I received a message from him to make an appeal to Provident Insurance that as part of your corporate social responsibility, you try and donate some white canes to the visually impaired in the Ashanti region. So fortunately, the board of directors of Provident Insurance approved.
Reporting for Joy News, Clinton Yeboah.
And now the most vulnerable segment of the population, children and the elderly, facing a growing threat from a silent and invisible killer, air pollution. Health experts in the country are sounding the alarm, calling on government and citizens to act to combat these deadly pollutants. Michael Ashali brings you the latest in our ongoing coverage of the critical issue of air quality in Ghana.
Accra is one of Africa's fastest growing cities. It seems that everyone in the capital is always on the move. But that very movement is putting them at risk. Air pollution is the second biggest threat to health in Ghana, according to the World Health Organization. Factories and waste burning are to blame for a lot of pollutants, but transport, especially the old fleet of trotros, is the biggest single contributor. Some of the particles emitted in this smoke are so tiny they can enter the bloodstream with lethal consequences over time.
It's not easy. It's a difficult moment. It's challenging breathing, especially at night when you are asleep.
Ruben Alexander has asthma, a life-threatening illness that constricts airways. Now 44 and an accountant with the University of Ghana Medical School in Kolebu, Otu says he was first diagnosed as a child. It was not a big surprise. Otu's mother had fought asthma for years before it finally took her life. Soon after, Otu's doctors told him he too had the disease. He is one of a growing number of Ghanaians with respiratory illnesses and a range of ailments, including heart conditions that doctors say are worsened by toxic air. Otu has to think all day, every day about avoiding triggers.
You encounter different kind of cars with their smoke from their exhaust pipes, very bad, and they are not the best.
The journey is far from comfortable, and with the emission of poisonous gas from the carbon-fueled engines, not even his nose mask can save him.
Protect myself from the dust in the system, the dust in the weather conditions in around here. It would help me to at least have a clean breath of air. So that's why I normally put on my nose mask. And especially when I use the trotro and stuff, people might come in with all sorts of perfumes in which might not be that best for me.
Air pollution has been associated with several diseases, notably respiratory diseases, acute ones as well as chronic respiratory disorders, lung function disorders, cardiovascular diseases, and even in recent times there are linkages with adverse reproductive health outcomes like miscarriages, low birth weight, premature deaths, and infertility in males.
Dr. Kao Osei has been monitoring the impact of air pollution on Ghana's growing population. He is the program manager of the Occupational and Environmental Health Unit at the Ghana Health Service. He says the effects of dirty air are far-reaching for many groups of Ghanaians.
We know that the children, usually are more vulnerable because their lungs are not well developed, and they stay closer to the ground where you have some of these pollutants in higher concentration. So they are more vulnerable, as well as the aged, the elderly, who are also not able to handle the effects of this air pollution, as well as the strong adults. Then also you can talk about those who have pre-existing chronic lung diseases, chronic obstructive lung diseases, Okay, these are exacerbated when they are exposed to air pollution.
The WHO says that 99% of the world's population is breathing polluted air. Children and the elderly are most at risk when exposed to these pollutants. And UNICEF is concerned, especially for children in Ghana.
If you look at pregnant women, it has an impact on them, on the developing baby in the womb, on when the babies are born. They may have low birth weight, some die, children have pneumonia. So even 50% of children who die from pneumonia, it is from air pollution.
Dr. Zano Rollins is a health specialist with UNICEF. He explains the strong link between air pollution and infant mortality in Ghana.
Children are a group of people who are developing, so their ability to withstand harmful things is lower than you, the adult. Again, children breathe in more air at any given time than an adult. So if for an adult in a minute you are breathing about 20 times or 18 times, a child will go higher than that. So imagine if there are harmful things in the air that you are breathing, then because the child is taking in more air or more of that harmful substance, that child is going to be impacted. And they develop the diseases faster. I mentioned that when we talk about children, especially those under 5, pneumonia and asthma, they can get this just from air pollution.
The WHO estimates 28,000 people died prematurely every year in Ghana as a result of air pollution. Poor air quality is mainly caused by cooking, using wood and charcoal, road transport, slash and burn methods of farming, open waste burning, energy generation, accidental fires and industry. The good news is that there are things people can do to reduce their exposure. Dr. Osei says the easiest is to wear a good nose mask.
Within the limitations of some of these protective equipment like the respirators, the N95, at least you can reduce the black carbon and then other particulate emissions. And I think by doing that, we can also minimize our exposure.
Experts also recommend reducing exposure to traffic and waste burning as much as possible. But Dr. Osei says the real changes will come when government passes laws to regulate emissions and enforces them.
We should also check the emissions from the exhaust. Very important, because there are some vehicles on the road that should not even be on the road. You know, especially the diesel vehicles, you know, it contains the emissions contain a lot of black carbon, which we know is also very harmful for health. For us, for example, we would be interested in seeing how exposure to schools, school children, you know, you're moving around, heavy traffic, the planning and the location of some of our infrastructure, you know, has to be regulated.
UNICEF's Dr. Chirmantin says tackling the transport sector can greatly improve the air quality crisis.
And also if we can look at public transportation and improve it, and look at other ways like rail line in the cities.
According to the Clean Air Fund, Accra could raise over $28 million in 2024 alone by implementing clean air measures. This story was a collaboration with New Narratives. Funding was provided by the Clean Air Fund, which had no say in the story's content. For Joy News, Michael Ashade.
And now, 147 schools started the 2023 National Science and Maths Quiz. Among these were 17 all-girls institutions, setting the stage for a groundbreaking narrative. Two remarkable forces, Wesley Girls Senior High School in St. Louis, SHS, emerged, defying conventions and expectations. Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah has the rest of the story.
Once denied their seed, rose from the ashes, ousting 3-time champion St. Peter's in a blaze of determination. Wesley Girls Senior High School's journey, a testament to resilience, led them to the semi-final, eyes fixed on a historic victory, aiming to etch their name as the first all-girls school to clinch the National Science and Maths Quiz title.
That with God, their best will be the best, and then
if it's God's will for us to get to the finals, we'll get there, and then if it's His will for us to win, we'll also win.
Their dreams, however, met an obstacle in the form of Achimota, leaving the world in awe of their journey.
Wesley Girls High School, thank you for being here as well. You also came all the way from the prelims and made it into the semi-finals. Well done. Unfortunately, we must say goodbye. Best wishes to you.
Meanwhile, St. Louis SHS embarked on a meteoric accent toppling reigning champions at Desidel College and Al-Klassen Kumasi Anglican School, showcasing their brilliance in a series of victories.
And as the old Spanish saying goes, "Que sera, sera, what will be, will be." We have won the cup already. This is just the beginning of our glory.
After 13 years, their return to the semi-final stage has become a beacon of hope and pride for the entire school. The school's first ever National Science and Maths Quiz contestant from 1994, now a teacher, Rose Eyisibuna, beamed with pride heralding the immense honor this comeback brought to their legacy.
I'm so excited that at long last we've gotten to this stage. During our time, we got to this stage and were eliminated.
As the anticipation builds and the tension thickens, the destiny of these all-girls schools have remained uncertain, with none qualifying to the finale, leaving the question lingering: which of these three remaining schools will emerge victorious in the 30th edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz? For Joy News, Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
Predicament. One of Ghana's leading oil palm company, Benso Oil Palm Plantation, is going through a tough time due to an impassable obstacle. The culprit, that's the deteriorating Kejibri and Mpoho Benso Road. Now, what was once an economic lifeline has now become a stifling nightmare. Samuel Kejibri delves deeper into the challenges faced by the company.
Year after year, the government has looked on for the total deterioration of the Kejibri-Benso Road. This road, used to facilitate the quick transportation of semi-finished goods from the Benso Oil Palm Plantation, BOP, to their client in Tema. But today, the road has become a major headache to the company, almost grounding their operations.
For the past 2 weeks, we've not sent even a drop of CPO to our refinery in Tema. We had about 12 tankers parked here in our yard as we speak, just waiting for an improvement in the condition of the road so we can send them. We tried one this afternoon, and the results has not been quite encouraging.
100 meters distance could take about 3 minutes with trucks wobbling on the deteriorated road. BOP's estate and plantation manager, Kwesi Ba Ofori, spoke about the dire consequences of the bad road on the company.
So once the road is in this condition, we are not able to send our crude palm oil to our refinery in Tema. And it gets to the point that our tanks have to be full and we cannot continue with production. We have to shut down production. And mind you, this plantation employs over 2,000 employees, and they are all accommodated on this site. They all live in the plantation, in the estate. So the impact is quite dire. And we are talking about over thousands of farmers who also supply our mill. And once the mill is full of CPO, we will not be able to keep up with the production. And all these farmers will eventually be impacted.
BOP is not the only company feeling the pinch. Residents of the area also feel the pain of bumping gullies. Alfred has been driving on this road for 2 years. We met him repairing his broken down vehicle along the road.
This road doesn't help us at all.
we suffer a lot on it. When you work for 3 days, you have to take everything you got to do maintenance. So are we progressing or retrogressing? This road is terrible. It is not helping us at all.
Alfred says vehicular breakdowns leave holes in his finances, with clients also refusing to pay more for transportation due to the current economic squeeze. The driving business is no longer lucrative.
Taxis, what 30 cities,
As soon as it rains, taxis take 30 cedis. Meanwhile, if the road was good, I'm not sure they would even charge 10 cedis. The residents here who don't have cash suffer. So imagine what will happen if there is someone who needs urgent medical attention. We plead with government to come and construct this road for us.
Several of the trucks which load Bob's semi-finished product to their client in Tema are grounded in the company for weeks because of the poor nature of the road. Driver Abdullahi Moro is frustrated.
Because of too much all the time.
We spend too much time when we come here because of the poor nature of the road, and it often rains in this place too. If the company grader doesn't pull you from this place to Kejebro, for you to continue, you can't go. Even with that, we still suffer.
All the time, no.
To him, the situation is affecting the finances of the drivers.
A financial problem.
It is only when you are able to transport the products to Tema that you get your bonus. If you are not able to go, you can't get it. So it affects our finances.
The estate and plantation manager for the Benso Oil Palm Plantation, Kwesi Ba Ofori, says the nature of the road is having a telling impact on the operations and their contribution to the local economy.
I mean, the impact is impact on even the Ghana Stock Exchange. We are quite a big company. We are making a lot of impacts in the lives of the communities within which we operate. Just last year, we bought palm fruits, to the tune of over 40 million Ghana cedis from farmers. This year, as of September, we've bought over 62 million Ghana cedis. Yes. That is the kind of amount of money we are pouring in the communities. And once our product is not able to go to its final destination, eventually, if we are not able to send it to its final destination, then we can not also continue buying from the farmers. And, the farmers will eventually also suffer losses.
Residents and Bob are all calling on government to expedite road construction.
Our wish is that the government takes it up, and we know the government is challenged with a lot of roads. There are a lot of road networks that he has to go to. He's doing his best, but we think that looking at the economic potential of this company in these districts, I think it would be good if they come in to help.
For Joy News, I am Samuel Kojobrace, Benso, Western Region.
And that's all we have for you in this package of the polls. Log on to myjoyonline.com for updates. You see some top stories there. Where Ghana stands now, a cause for grave lamentation. That's according to Justice Atuguba, who will be on Upfront later tonight with Raymond Aqua. If you want to make a date for that, stay with us here on the Joy News channel. We'll see you again. I am Blessed Sugan. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.